How much Cooper Rush is too much Cooper Rush? That and more today on the Run the Sims podcast. I'm your host, Adam Wilde. Tonight we have a 52-point over-under with Dallas heading to Minnesota. Minnesota is -3 at home. Now that's interesting because Dallas was -2.5 in this game. Dak is not technically rolled out, but there's not going to be a 5.5 point swing in the over-under unless an MVP candidate is ruled out. So we're going to go ahead and proceed as if Dak Prescott is not going to be available. Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can start talking about these injuries. So obviously mentioned Dak Prescott out. We've also got Michael Gallup, who's on his way to returning from IR, but not quite there yet. So we're going to get one more week of Cedric Wilson. And then on the Minnesota side of the ball, we've got an injury to D.D. Westbrook. He's been limited in practice, but KJ Osborne has gotten basically every wide receiver 3 snap for the Vikings this year. So don't expect that to change. No other injuries of note. So we go ahead and look at our optimal input. So open the show by talking about how much Cooper Rush is too much. So we have Cooper Rush projected for 4% ownership, but we have him appearing at 14% in the captain, which is third highest. And I also feel like we're going to get more ownership on the Viking side of the ball, which makes even more sense for rostering Cooper Rush at captain, because then you compare him with Amari, compare him with Zeke, you compare him with CeeDee Lamb. You can actually pair him with all three because he's only $6,000. So that's something that I'm going to show in just a minute when we start building. So I'll go ahead and go through some of the percentages here on RunTheSims.com. So Cooper Rush is in 42%. 57% of the flex. Sorry, he is 42% owned in the flex. He is appearing in 57% of the flex, with 14% at captain for a total of 71% lineup appearances for Cooper Rush. Next, you have Kirk Cousins. He is appearing in 59% of the flex spots, only 8% at captain for 67% total. Dalvin Cook, of course, is going to be the second highest captain percentage at 16%. He's in the flex 46% of the time for a total of 62%. I'll talk about fading Dalvin Cook for just a second. I mean, if you're not going to go Dalvin Cook, you should probably be going like Cousins, Jefferson, Thielen. Even in Cowboys on slots, I'd probably come back with Dalvin Cook as maybe the lone option, or one of two with Dalvin Cook and maybe KJ Osborne, or Dalvin Cook and maybe Tyler Conklin. I would, if you're going to fade Dalvin, you're not going to get to enough points if you don't fade him for someone like putting Zeke in the lineup, putting Thielen in the lineup. Like, if you're going to not play Dalvin, you're going to overload on studs, and maybe you even go sort of cheap at captain, like with Cooper Rush. So Dalvin is only in 62% of total lineup, so it's not like Devontae Adams where he has to be in 93% of total lineups. You can fade him, just have to do it smartly and make sure that when you are fading Dalvin Cook that you're giving leverage, which is, playing Adam Thielen or just going Minnesota pass heavy in general. Maybe Kirk Cousins at captain with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and a third option like KJ Osborne or Tyler Conklin, so that you're all in on a Minnesota passing day. That would be one option for fading Dalvin Cook. Next, you have Justin Jefferson. He is appearing the most at captain at 17.6%. He's 39.5% in the flex, 57% total. He is being projected 14% captain ownership, and he is being projected 42% in the flex. So it's going to be tough to get leverage. It's almost a wash. He's a fine play, but if you are going to try to gain leverage with Justin Jefferson, it'd probably be best to play him at captain and then maybe play him with Dalvin Cook and a third option and not Adam Thielen, and just hope Justin Jefferson absorbs, two touchdowns in a 100-yard game, something like that. Ezekiel Elliot is next, 39.3% in the flex, 10.2% total, or a 10.2% captain for 49.5% total. And so that's going to make Ezekiel Elliott our fourth highest captain. He's a fine play. He's someone that you can go Ezekiel Elliott captain with 5 Minnesota Vikings. And I would not mind that whatsoever. Maybe I wrote about maybe Ezekiel Elliott getting an uptick in volume, but he's going to get a little bit of a downtick in scoring opportunities with Cooper Rush starting. Adam Thielen is next, 34.3% in the flex, 11% captain for 45.3% total. He's actually being projected 11% captain ownership. So another fine play. Not terrible. not great. Tough to get leverage with him. Basically, playing Adam Thielen at captain, do the same thing I mentioned with Justin Jefferson. Try fading Justin Jefferson if you're going to go Adam Thielen at captain. Maybe play Dalvin Cook instead. You might be noticing a trend here. It's really, really difficult to get all 4 Vikings. Actually, it might be impossible unless you punt captain to get Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins in a lineup. So the only way to gain leverage is by playing, 3 of the big 4 for the Minnesota Vikings. Next is where it starts to get interesting with Tyler Conklin at 26.9% in the flex, 3.4% captain. So I'm going to talk about a range of players, probably when we get to the projections, that you're going to have to use to capitalize on ownership. So you're going to have Tyler Conklin at 4.4, KJ Osborne at 5,000, Tony Pollard at 5.4 thousand, Cedric Wilson at 4,000. They're all projected just about the same. Obviously, Cedric Wilson's the cheapest of the bunch by about 1,000. So you're going to have to make a decision there on who's going to have the least amount of ownership in that group, and maybe 2 players from that group. Maybe you have 2 mid-range players and you avoid a low price punt altogether. So that's going to get us to CeeDee Lamb, 24.8% in the flex, only 4.4% at captain, 29.2% total. Let me lump him in with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is 25.4% in the flex, 3.6 captain, 29% total. So I like Amari Cooper more here because the ownership is pretty similar, but Amari Cooper is much cheaper. And I wrote about Amari Cooper being in the captain spot. So Amari Cooper is appearing in only 5% captain ownership. He's appearing in 5% or 3.6% captain in our simulations. So he's fine, but he's also $1,200 less than CeeDee Lamb with a similar projection. So I don't mind that at all. CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper have about the same snap rate in the slot. So I feel like the slot's going to be more conducive to Cooper Rush's play, but they've both had roughly 70% or 70 snaps in the slot. So that's not going to make a big difference. So basically it just comes down to price. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, I really like putting Cooper Rush at captain with Lamb, Cooper, and Zeke, and then going cheaper, less owned options like KJ Osborne for the Vikings. So KJ Osborne's appearing in 23.3% of the flex with 3.7% captain. That's 27% overall. And then the next player I want to highlight before we get over to custom lineups is going to be Tony Pollard, 23.1% in the flex, 1.9% captain for 25% total. Dalton Schultz is after that. I mean, he's 6.6 thousand and he's being projected the exact same thing as the 4 players that I'm about to talk about. So about 10 points. So, I mean, you could play him for leverage, I guess. He's only 19% owned, and he's appearing in 21% of the flex. So, technically he's fine. But you get more out of KJ Osborne. You get more out of Cedric Wilson. So I'm not saying Dalton Schultz can't end up in the best lineup, but he's definitely not the best play. Let's go over to our custom lineups. We have the first lineup is actually an Adam Thielen captain, and it is a full Vikings onslaught. I love playing 2 running backs. Alexander Mattison hasn't been getting as much work as you would like, but hey, I just ate crow with AJ Dillon, so I'm not going to fade it again. Adam Thielen at captain, Alexander Mattison, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, and then running back with Tony Pollard. So all your run backs, after your onslaughts are going to end up being in that 5K range. Your KJ Osborne, Tyler Conklin, Tony Pollard, Cedric Wilson. Those are all really, really good run backs for onslaughts. Next one's going to be another Adam Thielen captain with Ezekiel, Elliot, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Rush, Alexander Mattison, Kirk Cousins. So you're noticing a theme, multiple lineups with Dalvin and Madison. And I like playing 3 running backs too. Add Zeke in there. Might be a week you could play all 4 running backs, Zeke, Pollard, Madison, and Dalvin Cook, depending on who you can get in captain to see if you can reach a ceiling with that lineup. Let's go to a Justin Jefferson lineup. So Justin Jefferson, Cedric Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Cooper Rush, KJ Osborne, Ezekiel Elliott. It's a 3x3. I'm probably not going to go with it. It's not super contrarian. It's 50,000 exactly on the dime. The ownership's 173%. So that's going to be really high, but that's a pretty solid cash lineup. Want to go down to a Dalvin and a Kirk before we go over mix some lineups. Dalvin Cook captain, KJ Osborne, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Cooper Rush, and Cedric Wilson. It's not exactly 50,000. Is very high ownership, but I don't mind Cooper Rush and Cedric Wilson in a 4x2. Next, you have Kirk Cousins, a captain, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Conklin, Adam Thielen, Cooper Rush, KJ Osborne. So Cooper Rush as the run back is very interesting. It could make sense just because his price is so low that just an okay day could get him in the winning lineup. Let's head over here and build. So I'm going to start a lot of builds with Cooper Rush at captain. Then I want all three of Dallas's main options. So we're going to have CeeDee Lamb. We're going to have Ezekiel Elliot. We're going to have Amari Cooper. We've got 2 spots left. We've got 7.5 thousand left. So what I like to do in this case is probably go Dalvin Cook, and then you've got 56 left. And I like going Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. So that makes perfect sense. So Cooper Rush at captain, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Dalvin Cook, Tony Pollard. Basically just hoping that Dalvin Cook gets 2 on the ground. And then this is why this 5K range that I've been talking about is so important. I can take the same lineup and go KJ Osborne. Now I've got a Dallas 4x2 with Dalvin Cook and KJ Osborne. Or I can take that and I can go Tyler Conklin. I could leave 1,200 on the table. I can go Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Dalvin Cook, Tyler Conklin. Or I can go Cedric Wilson and I can leave 1,600 on the table. So you can take that same skeleton and make sure that you get your ownership low enough by cycling through that mid-range grouping that I've been discussing. And then once you get down to Cedric Wilson, you can start messing with your captain. So you could probably, if I do this, put Amari Cooper a captain, and then you can fit Cooper Rush. So you've still got that same skeleton. You're still leaving 1.1 thousand on the table, but you've moved it around because going down to Cedric Wilson allowed you to go up to Amari Cooper from Cooper Rush. So let's get in the projections here before we wrap it up. We've got Kirk Cousins projected for 21.3 points, Justin Jefferson projected for 20, Dalvin Cook projected for 20, Cooper Rush getting a generous 18 points, Ezekiel Elliott at 17, Adam Thielen 16, CeeDee Lamb all the way down to 13, and Amari Cooper all the way down to 11. That's a really big drop off between the Vikings players, but that's why you're getting such an ownership boost between those guys. So, the Vikings 4x1s and 4x2s and 5x1s are going to be popular. That's why you're going with Dallas. And then you have all these players in the 10 range that we've already discussed. Cedric Wilson's down there at 7.4, so he's a little outside of that range, but he's also only 4K, and he lets you get up at quarterback. So that's going to do it for today. Please like, comment, rate, review, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I've been getting some good comments. Sorry about the share screen debacle last week. Got that fixed this week. Made sure to press the button. I appreciate you coming out. Good luck tonight, and peace.